So we were talking about how the argument is that undocumented immigrants are coming into this country and they're taking our jobs. And so I did a video showing a lot of the jobs that are currently not being done in this country because, at a minimum, the migrant workers who fill those jobs are afraid to come into work for fear that that's going to be the day that ICE shows up to that place of employment, to that place, and rounds them all up. And it was predominantly like ag jobs. Right now, I've done dozens of videos talking about the various fields that undocumented immigrants go into. And it's not just the ag jobs. It's not just the lower paying ag jobs. And this person says, I can't agree with you 100%. Illegals do take a lot of good paying construction jobs. Carpenters, painters, drywall tapers, also white guys can do. Yes, they can do. And you're touching on a subject that I've lived in for quite some time. Once again, I was a landscape contractor for 26 years here in the Chicagoland area. And prior to having my own landscape company for the last 6 of those 26 years, I worked for other companies. And the last 11 of my 20 years working for other people, I was a project manager. And I was a project manager for rather large landscape companies that have hundreds of employees, do millions of dollars worth of work. And we had predominantly, almost exclusively, undocumented immigrants, right? 200, 300, 400 undocumented immigrants working. Now these are people will go, yeah, because you were paying them pennies on the dollar. No, we're talking about 25, 30 years ago, undocumented immigrants getting union jobs. These were all local 150 union jobs with full health and welfare benefits from the union, paid time off, paid holidays, annual increases. And 30 years ago, we were paying undocumented immigrants with no experience $21, $22 an hour to operate a Bobcat, $15 to $20 an hour, somewhere in that range, to be a foreman, and then 11 to 15 to be a laborer, with union benefits, with paid time off, with annual increases, with union protection. And white guys could do that job too. So why did we hire the undocumented immigrants? Because the white guys wouldn't do that job. Even though they were union positions, even though they had health care, even though they had paid vacation, even though they had paid holidays, even though they had 401k, I believe they had. I think that they had. I'd have to go back and talk to some of the guys that I worked with back then. Even though they had damn good paying jobs at that point in time, white guys wouldn't do the work. So when you see a company that has positions like this that are filled with undocumented immigrants, don't look at the undocumented immigrants as coming in and taking the jobs. Because if you're talking about good paying jobs, you're not talking about the picking the fruit, the cleaning the hotel rooms, the washing the dishes, the things like that are lower paying jobs. If you're talking about the better paying jobs and you see them filled with undocumented immigrants, don't blame the immigrant. First and foremost, blame the employer for hiring them. But then secondly, ask yourself, if white guys can do the job, then why do these companies take the risk of hiring undocumented workers for the same pay, like we did, instead of white guys, instead of American-born workers? Because those American-born workers, in many, many cases, don't want to do it. We would hire Americans in, and they would last a day, maybe 2. Some guy comes in, thinks he's hot shit. Yeah, man, fuck, I did landscaping before. Don't be fucking, what, we're going to go on a mulch job? We're going to go on a tree planting job? Yeah, we got a tree planting job today. We got to knock out these 56 trees. Let's go. Yeah, no problem. By noon, dude's begging for the door. He can't keep up with the Mexican immigrants. Can't keep up. So if you find a scenario like that, right? You find one of these construction jobs, the carpenters, the painters, the drywallers, the tapers, all of that stuff. And you see that these are good paying jobs and they're filled with undocumented immigrants. Why are you looking at the immigrants? Why aren't you looking at the American workers and the employers and going, hey, what gives here? you automatically want to blame the immigrant. The immigrant didn't hire himself.